Okay, we are live. Hi, Roopa.
Hey, Trusha. Good to be back.
Yes, good to be back. And uh, we couldn't do this session last week.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
had to cancel it, but then good, we are catching up on the same topic, which is the healing breath of Meipadam. So
Mhm.
then, where do we start?
We could start with what sort of role breath plays in Meipadam to begin with, just to give an idea as to what the connection is. Um, so,
Hmm.
it- so from my experience, I would say it is crucial. It's at the crux of how Meipadam works and why it works. It's such an important element of Meipadam. So people would generally think it's a physical exercise and all of that, but which it is, but with not without the backing of the breath, it doesn't do as good a job.
Hmm.
So if you have the breath to align and synchronize with those movements, then it's the best combination. And in my experience, I realized once you start doing this regularly and long enough, of having that synchronized deep belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing, once you get used to doing that, then you can sort of take it on from beyond my padam into your day-to-day lives as well, don't you think?
Hmm. Yes. So from my experience, what I have noticed, what I have observed and learned is that so two things about Meipadam and breathing. First is that in the beginning, as a beginner, I didn't follow any pattern of breath. So, at this point, breathe in, or at this point, breathe out. So, but what I realized was that over a period of time, just on its own, the breath started synchronizing with the movement very effortlessly, and like fitting two pieces of puzzles perfectly.
So how long
Uh,
did it take you approximately?
it took me, I will say, 4 5 months.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, 4 5 months. And because my breathing pattern was always very erratic, very bad. And in May part of movements, because a lot of movements are like they come from martial arts, so there are a lot of like blocks and hits. So if it's a block or if it's a hit, that you're supposed to breathe out at a certain point, right?
Yes,
So then, even though this I knew in the beginning, I didn't make this connection. But then I realized that once the breath started aligning with the movement, that's exactly how I was breathing,
oh,
just on my own.
beautiful. Yeah.
What about you?
Fortunately, I had the instructions given to me from the very beginning when I started learning martial arts. So I always knew that you release breath as you release the move. So
Mm,
if you're kicking, if you're punching, you're blocking, whatever,
mm,
the movement that you're executing, you breathe out with it. That's where
mm,
the energy aligns, because the breath is a mind body connection. So you need to be
mm,
aligned physically, internally, yourself, your mind and body, and then you need to align yourself with your opponent from the martial arts
mm,
perspective, of course. So you need to
mm,
have that calm and that focus, which only
mm,
deep breathing brings about. Because if you're having
mm,
shallow breathing or erratic breathing, or you're hyperventilating, you generally, the
mm,
mind will not be calm. You can't do any alignment whatsoever.
mm,
So
mm,
fortunately, because I had the instructions early on, I got into the good habit sooner than later. So it didn't fortunately take me
mm,
4 5 months. I was aware of the breathing synchrony from day one. So it was easier
mm,
and I got there quicker. So it's
mm,
beautiful how the body aligns itself, like in your experience.
mm.
And but you can also consciously do it sooner than later as well. So it's just
Yes.
even if you don't align it, even if you don't do the out breath with the release of the move, even if you just breathe deep, it will happen. You'll automatically align with the movement, the release
Mm,
movement and the out breath. But I think focus is just breathing deep in your belly. um,
mm,
And if I might highlight the other very important benefit that this deep breathing brings about is the activation of your vagus nerve, which a lot of people would have heard, one of the cranial nerves that runs from the back of your head, so from your brainstem, base of your skull, all the way into your abdomen. That's your longest nerve, and it is one of the most important nerve when it comes to activating your parasympathetic system. So the parasympathetic is just your rest resting mode, nervous system activity. So if you're in a stressful mode, fight and flight mode, or you're anxious, or you are running from a tiger, or or you're running to catch a bus or train, that's your sympathetic nervous system, or fight and flight sort of nervous system. That's a different system, and the sympathetic is the opposite of it. It is rest and relax. So it's all the deeper functions that are more active in your relaxed mode. So your digestion happens wonderfully, your immune system is all spick and span, all the healing and rejuvenation happens in that rest mode. So that's where the body heals, that's where your vitality is restored, that's where your well-being is at its peak, mentally and physically.
Mm,
So it's sort of a feedback I have seen. So if you start just breathing like a dog, hyperventilating, your mind will get agitated. And also the reverse works. If you are agitated and anxious, you will subconsciously, without realizing, start hyperventilating, taking shallow breaths. So it's such a
yeah.
beautiful system. You can manipulate it if you know this. So if you have an
Mm,
anxious mind or a calm mind, or chronic inflammation or any health issues, just
mm,
focusing on your breath. And it takes a bit of practice and effort to begin with, but once you've done it for about a month or so, you don't have to think about it. You just keep checking on it every now and then, and you will automatically be breathing into your belly and deep.
mm.
So it works, benefits your body and mind.
Yes, it is. I mean, it makes perfect sense because, you know, to be honest, when I used to practice or even when I used to teach, so uh, let's say if something happened before the class, let's say if something made me angry or upset, and it's like to give you an example, let's say if something happened that made me angry, and I used to think, okay, I'm going to finish the class and I'm going to get back to that situation, whatever it was. But during the class, as the class progressed and as it finished, I used to actually see from outside that my anger like used to dissipate.
Mm.
It used to become very mild, and I used to not have that urgency or even that need to getting back to that
Mm.
situation.
Mm. The
So what
clarity
you're
comes
saying
in.
makes perfect sense.
Mm.
Yes, 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 yeah. So the connection you're talking about makes perfect sense. Yes. um how is it this alignment of breath and Meipadam movements?
Mm.
How do you feel it's different, let's say, from yoga or even Tai Chi, Qigong?
I would say they're the same. The idea, the core
Mm,
idea, the core element is the same. Deep diaphragmatic breathing, where you focus on exhalation more. So the idea is when
mm,
you focus on exhaling completely and fully from your belly, then the breath that goes in, because of the pressure changes in your body and lungs and the diaphragm, you'll automatically take a deep breath. So somewhere a lot of people focus on inhalation rather than exhalation. So if you focus on
mm,
exhalation, it's way more effective. And that's what we would do in anything, in Tai Chi, yoga, any of those things that focus on breath as a key element. That's what you're focusing. You're emptying your entire lungs. So there is no stagnation of air in your lungs. And
mm,
that increases the abdominal pressure because you're using your
mm,
diaphragm to inhale or exhale, and that changes, that massages your internal organs, that keeps the energy flowing so much more nicer, energetic, as in through the meridians, and also the oxygenation is more effective. So you when you breathe, and another very important thing I think I should mention here is the nose breathing. People don't quite necessarily pay attention to, am I breathing through my nose, am I breathing through my mouth? But it's such an important element of breathing, Meipadam or yoga, tai chi, or even normal breathing. People forget that the nose is meant to breathe. Rare exceptions
mm,
where you would exhale or inhale through your nose, like you have shitali pranayam in yoga, where you would
mm,
breathe through your teeth and stuff like that. So that is a exception.
mm,
Majority of the times, 99% of the times, let me say, is breathing through the nose. It improves your
mm,
oxygen intake. It helps release more carbon dioxide. Okay, so there is no more acidity forming. That's where helps inflammation, because it helps the body become more alkaline, because you're releasing all the
mm,
carbon dioxide. And so the exchange of gases happens way more effectively. Also, when you breathe through the nose, you automatically produce nitrous oxide, which is what
mm,
helps dilate the blood vessels and your bronchi. So all of that dilates, which means your blood supply and your blood pressure comes down. That's how deep breathing and blood pressure are connected. So it's like it
mm,
impacts your entire system, head to toe. And at the
mm,
core of it all, no matter what you're doing, is just plain simple deep breathing, which babies do all the time. You see toddlers, they're breathing into your tummy. You see the tummy going in and out, in and out, in and out. And we as adults have
mm,
forgotten how ridiculous over the years stress has come in the way, life has happened, and all of that. So it's just bringing it back, and sort of the mindfulness kings in. I think that's what, in my experience, I find mindfulness, um, and the peace and calm, and that's what makes my part meditative for me. That synchrony
mm,
between my move and the breath, it's like the rest of the world just falls apart. It's just me, my breath, and my move. That's it. I find that so huge.
mm,
I sometimes forget to change the move when I'm doing the class. Oh, sheesh, it's already 4 minutes. I need to change the move. But it is
mm,
just,
mm.
it takes you into a trance, into such a simple mindfulness grounding state, I think.
Right. That again, that makes sense considering what my experience has been, as you were mentioning about inflammation, because I got relief from such a massive inflammatory illness. So, yes, it's very interesting. Right now, even that we are having this session discussing about breath, because people think that martial arts, because people connect breath with slower practices like, let's say, yoga, even tai chi. But martial arts, and considering that Meipadam has such movements. They think that there can't really be much connection, like there is no depth when
Hmm.
it comes to the connection between breath and Meipadam movements.
Hmm.
So yeah. um Also, one more thing I want to bring here is that because the intensity of the Meipadam session varies, like it depends on the teacher, it depends on the practitioner.
Yes.
You can do it with very less intensity, and
Hmm.
you can do the same movement with a lot more intensity, and there are some movements which are very intense.
Hmm.
So in those intense movements, we tend to, because to synchronize the breath with the movement, we tend to breathe faster.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then people think that maybe that's not a good thing to do. So
Hmm.
uh, what what meaning and what understanding are we bringing here when it comes to intense movements and the synchronizing of breath, where breath has to become a little faster?
uh, Breath is can be manipulated at so many levels for so many purposes. So what remains constant is your deep breathing, your diaphragmatic breathing into the belly. That remains constant no matter you're breathing it slow or deep. And that focus on exhalation, that remains across slow and fast breathing. The fast breathing, again, if you're doing serious martial arts or more intense tarai padam or stuff like that, where there is more stamina required from your body, then you need more oxygenation, as simple as that.
mm,
right? So slower the movements, the more relaxed the body, the more, less oxygen, the less of your joints and tendons and muscles are being used, and the more intense, the more oxygenation. So for which you need just more breath, more deeper breaths and faster breaths. But it still doesn't change the fact that you are breathing deep. So fast breathing, and I think a lot of people are likely to equate it to shallow breathing, hyperventilation,
yes,
just breathing up
yes,
to the top of your lungs, which you get the least air. Because if you see the shape of the lungs, they are narrower at the top, and then they grow bigger at the edge. So it's sort of like a drop shape, to put it very simplistically. So it's tiny at the top, and then it grows at the wide base. So the idea when we say belly breathing is just you're trying to get the breath to the very end of the lungs, where you have the maximum surface area for the exchange of gases to happen. You have the most
mm,
air sacs, alveoli as we call it, where the
mm,
exchange of gas happens most effectively. So not that it doesn't happen at the
mm,
top, but there is more to happen at the base.
mm,
So you will get more
mm,
oxygenation. So the more activity, more oxygen needed, it just naturally works, and the body knows it all,
mm.
and it doesn't sink. It does it in such beautiful sync if you just let it do it. Most of us end up just,
Yeah,
unfortunately, if you're doing something stressful, hold our breath, the absolute
yes,
total opposite of what you should be doing.
yes, yes, yes.
um,
And as I said, it's and I felt that was something unique about Meipadam was that uh, the rhythm of breathing to match with the intensity of the movement
mm,
developed automatically, at least for me.
yes,
And I've
yes.
seen, and I remember this discussing with Vidya also, and
Mm,
she was saying the same thing that, in the beginning, even if you don't worry about synchronizing,
mm,
after a period of time, it just synchronizes on its own.
mm, mm,
So
mm,
that's
mm.
something very unique, according to, I mean, that's been my experience. That's very unique thing about Maypadam. What do
Yes.
you think?
Yes, like I said, if you just let the body, what I think what happens is, initially these are such very unusual different movements which we don't quite do in our day-to-day lives, that sort of synchrony and all of that. So I think it takes a bit of time for the neuromuscular coordination to happen, the left and the right brain hemisphere working at the same time, your arm and opposite leg or same leg, you turning in synchrony with the arm moving. So if you think about it, this is like learning to drive a car. The first time you learn, it's like, oh, good heavens, I have to look at so many things. This is ridiculous. No man
Hmm,
can do it.
hmm,
That's the initial overwhelming feeling you get. And this is
hmm,
sort of similar. No, I can't just
hmm,
the hip, the shoulder, the breadth, the arm, the leg. Oh no, there's too much.
hmm,
And I have to keep my head looking
hmm,
forward in some cases, or not lift my leg in some. So it's just so much you
hmm,
feel, because you're not used to thinking of the body like that. But then, like you
hmm,
say, once you sort of keep doing it, the body starts flowing with it and relaxing with the movement. And once the body
hmm,
relaxes, the feedback goes back. Okay, now you can breathe. Everything is okay.
hmm.
The breath is flowing
Yeah,
automatically, the movements are flowing. And like you say, they would automatically sync. The body is a fantastic mechanism if you just let it do its job. So I think that's
yeah,
where, even if you're not conscious, it would happen because of the movements are flowing. You're not stressed about doing the movements right anymore, or your shoulder is not stiff and you're fighting against your body to lift it, and all of that just settles down in the first few months. The body starts warming up, and oiling happens
yeah,
in the first few months, I guess.
yes. Um, okay, so as we move close towards, maybe almost wrapping up, I want to bring in the topic of, which is a very, it's a very, how do you say, it's like one of those things people want to have in their checklist, like those fancy people consider them as fancy, and that's what they go looking for, like one of the things they want to have in their kitty,
Mm.
and that's kshatriya pranayam, right? So because I know people approach me saying that, will you teach this? And yeah, will you teach this? And I'll come back to you on this, but uh, firstly, two things. So first thing is that from what I have learned is Kshatriya pranayam is what happens on its own as the intensity of Meipada movements increases. So even to go to the level of being able to practice Kshatriya pranayam, you have to, even in your Meipadam practice, you have to be little advanced, because then you will be doing a lot of intense movements, which is physically more demanding. Second thing, what I would like to say, since we are talking about breath and Meipadam, is that that's really what Kshatriya pranayam is. It's not some like huge secret, because that's what people get attracted to, right? You tell them that it's a secret, and then they're like, I want to learn this secret. And right now, I'm telling what Kshatriya pranayam is, what I have learned from my martial arts practice and the practice of Meipadam and Karlakatai. Um, so it kind of, when you, because it's like the simplest things are actually the biggest secrets.
Yes,
They are
yes.
always,
Right in front of you.
because exactly right, because the basics, the secret, all the secret is not in advanced, it's in the basics.
Yes, yes, yes,
So
indeed. Well said, well said.
and it's when you run behind these secretive mysterious things, that's when you'll tend to get fooled, or you'll just tend to like get together with people with whom your experience won't be that good. So, what do you have to say about this? Because it's a very, like, I get like a lot of people approaching saying that, but will you teach Kshatriya pranayam?
I have no
Yeah.
idea how to separate the Kshatriya pranayam from the move at all. I don't think you can.
Hmm.
It is part
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
parcel of the move, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's nothing that, like you say, it is no massive secret that you have to learn and do separately. I think somewhere people mistake it for the yogic pranayam practice, which can be done exclusively, where it's just different types of breath and all of that. Yes, understandably. I think that's where the confusion would likely stem from. And they think, oh, this is another type of pranayam, very powerful. Warriors have done it and all that. That is to go. But warriors have been
Yeah.
fighting, for heaven's sake. They don't have a time to sit in the corner and meditate when they're in the middle of a war. So it is
Yeah.
just, for me, Kshatriya Pranayam, of course, goes hand in hand with the movement, and you can't separate the two. And it's just one makes the other more effective. You move synchronously
Hmm.
with the breath becomes effective, and the move becomes effective. So it's like I can't quite separate the two. I just can't
Hmm.
say. And
Hmm.
again, at the end of the day, no matter what names you call it, you call it Tai Chi breathing,
Hmm.
Kshatriya breathing, pranayam from the
Hmm.
yoga, or whatever else breathing,
Hmm.
at the core, like you say, the magic is in the simplicity of just breathing deep and slow.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
At the
Yeah.
core, that's what we are focusing off, no matter what package you call it, from which tradition you pick it up from. um,
Yes.
it doesn't matter. At the core, it's as simple as that. Sorry to break the bubble, everyone, but yeah, it is
Yes.
as
Yes. Yes.
simple as that. Don't you think?
Yes. Yes, so everyone who's watching this, we are breaking the bubble
I
of
know,
Kshatriya
sorry about
Pranayam
that.
here.
I know the excitement
Sorry.
and the lure of forbidden fruit
So,
and all that.
yes, yes, we just punctured all the mystery and secrecy out of it.
Yes.
So basically, if you want to learn Kshatriya Pranayam, you have to start from basics, the things which you don't consider so cool, you
Yes, yes,
know. So you
precisely.
have to start from those and learn properly, and not run after these fancy names, and what you have built up in your mind is fancy and cool, and you want to have it in your checklist or something. You have to check it off.
True, true.
So, Kshatriya Pranayam is what will come to you when you build your practice. That's what finally it is, isn't it, Rupa?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to go looking for it and sort of implement it separately. It would automatically happen. Just give it the space and
Yes,
time. and
Yes.
effort. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you will find it in, you'll find very fancy names for it. So, warrior yoga breath,
Mm.
Kshatriya pranayam. So, all these things. To be honest, really, just start your practice from basics, learn your basics properly, and that's where all the secret and that's where all the power, that's where all the mystery. That's what is that's see that's the thing. The thing about mystery is that it's so easy and it's in so much open
Yes, yes.
that we
It
always
is right
miss
in
it.
front of your eyes.
Exactly. So
Seriously.
yeah. So any last words about this?
I would say if the one thing you want to take from today's talk is just be aware of your breath. As simple as that. That's the starting point. People don't even think about their breath. So I would say just start thinking about, even just when you're washing the dishes, looking at TV, standing at the bus stop, working on your desk, laptop, whatever. Just make it a point to see how you're breathing. Are you breathing in your tummy? Are you breathing up to your lungs? Are you engaging your entire torso that you're breathing into? Or how are you breathing? First, get to know that. Or am I holding my breath, not even breathing? Just holding and having, and then take one breath and hold it. Or, how are you breathing? Just get the awareness of it. And then once you have the awareness, you can do something about it. Change it if you want, or whenever you want. At least start with the awareness. It would be my important tip of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, so yes, so that's what the last word is. Start, focus on the basics, learn properly, learn systematically instead of running after fancy sounding or looking things. And that's where all the power is.
Yes, and
So
that's how we talk
yeah,
about in our classes when you're doing the my actual exercise sessions as well. We mention about the breath anyway. So coming and attending those sessions and looking at those will sort of course, start getting the awareness going and make you, yeah, do something about the breath, I guess.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
So great. This was a nice topic. I think we covered a lot of things that people don't understand about Meipadam and breath. And I hope our viewers find it useful. And all of you who are watching it, please feel free to share your feedback in the comments. Let us know if you have any questions. Let us know if you have any suggestions for the topics that we should cover. Apart from doing 2 weekly free classes, apart from that, if you would like us to talk about certain topics related to Meipadam, let us know and we'll definitely cover those too.
absolutely.
So that's it then. We'll see you soon. And yeah, we'll see you soon.
Yeah, have fun
Oh,
breathing.
yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay then. Bye, Rupa. See you. See you
Bye,
soon.